Hey, what's up, you guys? Bloody Jacob here to bring you another horror movie review for the month of October, continuing my trend of reviewing flicks like this. This time we're going to be talking about Bad Moon, and this movie came out in 1996, the year I was born, ironically. And I actually have a copy right here. I have the DVD. I actually picked this up at the Flashback Horror Convention in Chicago I was at back in August. I think it was only like $4 or $5 there, I think. But it's one I've been meaning to see for a little bit. I just thought I was going to have to order it, so I was kind of happy that I found it there. I apologize for the noise, by the way, lawn being mowed outside and everything. Also, dogs that are pretty sensitive to sound. But yeah, ironically enough again, so... so I had heard some mixed things about this movie, just because of sort of the premise, or I guess more so I should say the main protagonist, I guess, being a dog. But we'll talk more about that in a second. Let me just go over the basic plot too. Plot involves a family man who struggles to overcome the curse of lycanthropy. But yeah, I'll just read you the back of it. How about that? Full crescent quarter each is a bad moon for Ted Harrison. By day, he's a photojournalist visiting family in the Pacific Northwest. By night, he transfigures into a horrific half-human, a werewolf. Dead men tell no tales, so Ted's sure he alone knows about his vile double life. The secret helper may be out. The family dog, Thor, devoted to defending the household, has his suspicions. Writer-director Eric Red, the Hitcher, Body Parts delivers a new infusion of thrills with this red-blooded shocker. Michael Paré portrays Ted hiding his accused condition from his sister, Mariel Hemingway, and nephew Mason Gamble. What better way to hide it than to create suspicion that the local killings are the work of another, especially if the other is the family's all too wise German shepherd. So yeah, that's the idea of it there. The premise is simple, excuse me. But what I didn't really mention too much is the tragedy that is still in Ted's story here. It sort of happens like a lot of other werewolf ones do, of course. With his photojournalism, he's also kind of like a traveler and explorer type of character. At the beginning of the movie, we see, while he's at a work expedition in Nepal, his camp is attacked by a werewolf, and his girlfriend Marjorie is killed in a pretty brutal way. This movie is pretty violent, which does please a certain part of me. Because violence and gore isn't like all horror movies should be built on, but I still like it when we see the right amount, and there is a fair amount in this one. So he is attacked and bitten. His girlfriend is killed very brutally. And as you see in his journal later, he has tried like every medical or scientific solution that he knows or that he can dig up, but none of it's worked. Again, I apologize for the noise, it's bugging me too. But anyway, so in his journal we find out that he believes that the only chance he has is like love or the power of family, I guess. So he decides to, come see his sister and, his nephew, her son. I don't know why he would decide to do that. That's like the one kind of big flaw in the movie, or that kind of comes off a little bit stupid. Again, excuse me, the noise is pretty distracting. But he would have to know he's putting his sister and his nephew in pretty immense danger here. And would he really believe that any love between them would actually just stop the curse? I don't know. But maybe you could argue because of how Ted ends up acting later into the movie, that maybe that was the werewolf part of him actually urging him to get closer to his loved ones and to, have this like buried desire to kill them or do them harm. Because we see at the end of the movie just how sinister he's become due to the werewolf's influence. And that's something that's happened in quite a few werewolf movies, that causes the person to become more sinister, sort of more aggressive. We've seen that in Ginger Snaps and a lot of werewolf tragedies. Even as far back as the original, where you see the werewolf has this desire to track down the person he loves the most. So you could argue it's part of that. So maybe in ways it isn't really a plot hole, I guess, if you look at it that way. Yeah, so that solves that, I guess. But yeah, so that's the idea of it. There isn't like too many more details to explain about the story. There's this guy who walks around at the beginning of the movie. He's basically someone who just tries to set people up to get money out of them, to like provoke their dog to attack them, or some kind of other lawsuit just to get money out of them. Janet, the sister, Mariel Hemingway's character, she sees through that right away, and the guy returns later some night with a meat cleaver as payback, I guess. That's kind of extreme, a pretty big jump there. But of course he ends up being killed by Ted while he's a werewolf. But yeah, I actually thought this was a pretty enjoyable horror flick. Parts of it come off a little bit campy. Some of it does have sort of an interesting mix of like almost like a family movie with a dog, and then it becomes a pretty, pretty violent horror movie. But I thought the pacing was good. It's not a very long movie at all. It's only 80 minutes. There's almost no movie nowadays, so that's that short. I thought all the performances were pretty good too. Michael Paré, I thought, was actually pretty good. He was likable at first, initially in the film, until, like I said, that werewolf side thing makes him like more creepy and sort of arrogant, really, which I thought he portrayed well too. And at the beginning of the movie, where Janet first visits him, and he says that Marjorie's gone. He did well, showing that subtle pain in his face, because, like I said, there's still tragedy with it. It's just that eventually who Ted is just lost to his werewolf side, especially by the end. And when, of course, at the end, Janet sees him transform, and he has these yellow eyes, and he's smiling, it's really creepy looking to me. As far as the look of the werewolf, the design, I think, is fine. I am more of a fan of like the Wolfman classic style. My favorite design in the film was in the Wolfman remake in 2010. I don't like it when they call something a werewolf and it's just something on 4 legs, because then it just comes off like a bigger wolf. That bugs me a lot. This one, I guess, is sort of a medium between those two, because he definitely has a more wolf-like head, but he still stands up on like 2 feet, so I can deal with that, I guess. Like the suit and stuff and everything looks fine. Ken Kirzinger, I think, was actually in the wolf suit, during the werewolf scenes, and of course he played Jason in Freddy vs. Jason when he's done other stuff. He was at the horror convention in Chicago as well. I wish I had more money, because I would have liked to have met him too. But I did sit in on a panel of his, he was in with the Freddy vs. Jason thing along with Catherine Isabel and Jesse Hutch and such. But yeah, so that was kind of cool to see. Yeah, I did enjoy it. I thought Thor, the whole perspective, some of the perspective anyway, being from Thor the dog, I thought was different. I know it's based off a book. I guess in the book it's totally from Thor's perspective, and he struggles whether to trust the werewolf or not, just because they have like a similar connection, I guess, because that's why Thor's able to sense it on him. It is. Some people might think that's kind of silly, but I thought it was, at least they tried to do something different with that. And I don't like seeing animals killed in movies, especially like dogs and cats and such, but it happens a lot. So it's good to see a dog sort of take the lead role of the film, I guess. But it is kind of again silly, because we're supposed to buy that a dog can put up a big fight against a werewolf, and maybe even like injure it to such an extent. And I've seen people argue that Dobermans, or I might have said the wrong name there, but like German Shepherds or like Rottweilers or something, they could actually fight a werewolf and beat it. I don't know about that. I might give it like a shock or like a challenge briefly or something, but I don't really see. Unfortunately, I don't think any dog would really last that long against a werewolf. But it's just one of those things you kind of gotta let slide to enjoy the movie. Still, the fight scenes they do have between Thor and Ted in his werewolf form are fairly violent. Of course, the dog wasn't harmed or anything. Really, of course, that would be terrible. But The way they put like the fake blood on him and stuff, it makes it look like he's actually wounded. And then Thor, again, the makeup is pretty good in this movie. Even again at the beginning when Marjorie, Ted's girlfriend, is killed, just the wounds you see on her as she's being just slaughtered by the werewolf, it's pretty intense. And I like the music in this as well. They placed it correctly in all the scenes, I think. But yeah, and the kid's pretty good too. Ted even gets the dog taken away to the pound. Again, more of that werewolf side of his taking over provokes him, so he doesn't have to worry about him as he tries to get to the family towards the end of the movie. The kid, of course, is able to free Thor, and they have that fight. And again, there's a moment or two, despite like the makeup being good in the scenes, where you're like, okay, the werewolf's just missing him, or it's not doing quite enough damage to the dog for some reason, even though one hit to Marjorie at the beginning of the movie just like snapped her neck. You know what I mean? So again, it's one of those things I have to let slide to enjoy it, that the werewolf couldn't kill the dog that quickly. But again, it makes it feel good to see the dog actually survive. And it did make me happy in a certain way. But yeah, I found it to be very enjoyable. There were some moments of genuine intensity and suspense. It's rare for me to get scared, and I didn't really hear, but I did feel creeped out at the end during Ted's transformation, where he's talking with that weird wolfish smile. It actually seemed really creepy and sinister. And when you see Thor looking back and forth at Ted just before he bites Ted, it is, like I said, fairly suspenseful. And just the way you see that Thor wants to protect the family, I think, is pretty well done. But yeah, I found it to be very enjoyable. Like I said, I liked it a lot better, honestly, than An American Werewolf in London. I know that's a popular movie in the genre, but I did a review on that a while ago. Maybe I'll provide a link to that at the end of the video. I just didn't like it that much. I found it to be kind of underwhelming. I much preferred the werewolf in this one, and I just found this to be an all-around more entertaining movie for me. But yeah, if I had to rate Bad Moon, I'd honestly rate it around B or B+. I enjoyed it that much. Again, it might look kind of silly there at the bottom left with him there, but the scene itself is actually pretty good, trust me. But yeah, B or B+ for this one. I enjoyed it more than I thought I would. I'm glad I have it in my collection now. But yeah, so anyway, guys, thought about Bad Moon if you've seen it. I understand if some people think it's too silly and they can't really get over the dog thing. But I just personally found it to be a good time if you're a horror fan. So yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video. I will be doing many more horror movie reviews this month for October, and like I said before, I just want to make horror more of a presence on my channel because I'm such a big fan of it. So yeah, follow me on Facebook, Twitter, like, subscribe. I'll catch you guys next time. Peace.